So, today is gonna be a back in time watches video, and today I'm gonna be telling you the first time that I've watched Back to the Future 2. Now, I can't remember how old I was, but I think I was maybe, oh, I'm not even sure. But I would say from what I can remember is that I was 13 when I did watch it. And so, because I remember watching 1, 2, and 3, um, so I remember watching part 2. Yeah, I remember. Now, of course, after watching the first one, I just loved it, and the first one's my favorite. But then after watching, when I got to watch part 2, I remember thinking, okay, so what's gonna happen this time? And then, so the beginning starts where part 1 ended. So I'm like, oh, and I never seen how a movie start like that before, but I thought that was very interesting. And so when it starts with how part 1 ended, and then we see Doc, how he comes in, and then we're like, okay, what's going on? And then he tells him that he has to go back with him, to the future. And I'm like, cause when he goes up to Marty, he tells him, you gotta come back with me. And he says, where? And he's like, back to the future. But when he says back to the future, I'm thinking, wait, but where he went wasn't the future, was the past. So I was like, wait, what? And so yeah, I thought that was a little confusing. Like, does he mean the past? Because he just said future. And so when he sees, what was that thing called? Mr. Fusion, that thing, and was putting things in it, because I think it was giving fusion to the car, I believe. And so, and here's what I find funny though, and I think this must have been some kind of blooper, but I think it was left in. Cause in the first one we see where they're talking, and he tells him, about Jennifer, like, this concerns her too. And he's like, well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? What happens to us in the future? And he says to become assholes or something. And he tells him, no, that he and Jennifer turn out fine, but it's their kids. And so what's funny is that in part 2, when they have to say those lines again, and he asked him, like, well, what happens to us in the future? Do we become assholes or something? And it's funny how he asked that. But when he says that Christopher Lloyd as as Emmett Brown, he doesn't say his line right away. He has this look. He looks up like he's trying to think of his line. He's like, no, and then he's like, no, Marty. And then he's like telling him, you and Jennifer turn out fine. And then I think that was funny though, and I'm glad they actually left that in there, because that's just kind of funny how he looks up like thinking of his, like, and then he's like, oh, no. That's funny. I like that. That might have been an error, like I said, maybe some kind of a little blooper, but it's left in there. But I think, hey, I think that went well, you know. But it also looked like he's trying to think, oh, did that? Oh, no, it didn't happen. But that's just funny though. But anyway, so as I'm watching it, I remember I caught that the first time, and I'm like, did he just forgot his line? But I thought, even if he did, that's okay, because that actually was funny. So, glad they just left that in there, and that they didn't have to do like a retake, So I'm like, okay, so far so good. And so yeah, as I'm watching it, they are traveling into the future of 2015, and so so of course, since but like I said, just seeing how everything was turning out in part two, it was great, you know. And it was also um like there's some action and humor, and it's just like I said, it's just great. So yeah, I think Back to the Future 2 is just a great sequel, and I just remember thinking that um you know what I mean? So I thought it was quite interesting how he had to pretend to be his son, since his son looked like him. And so he had to pretend it to be him. But what's funny though is that when he's pretending to be his son, it seems like no one noticed a difference, because when Griff comes to the Cafe 80s, um, okay, he sees Marty McFly Jr., but when he sees him, his jacket isn't on right. One sleeve is longer than the other, and then his hair looks a little sweaty, and it looks like if he looks like a little dehydrated, but just look like that. But then after Griff throws him over, um, so when he throws him over behind the counter, and then I think that's when he was like knocked out. But then he doesn't know that his dad is there, but of you know what I mean. It's gonna be hard to explain. So the only thing that Marty does from the past, well, from 1985, is that he takes his son's baseball cap and he puts it on him. But I don't think Griff notices a difference. Like, one, his jacket is on right, it fits him well, and not just that, but his hair doesn't look, kind of wet, sweaty. His hair looks fine. And that even he looks okay too. Like, he doesn't look like like if he just ran, you know, like for a long run. And he doesn't look like out of breath, though. He doesn't look sweaty himself. He looks fine and everything. But I don't think Griff notices that there is a difference. Especially the way how he, especially the way he was talking to Griff, and when he pushed him back and saying the answer is no. But what's funny is that when Griff says no, and he tells him, "What, are you deaf and stupid?" I said no. So I thought that was great that he said that. I think that's a great way to tell someone off. But of course, as we can see, what gets Marty into trouble is that when someone calls him chicken, he gets very defensive. He takes it literally, and he takes it to the point where he feels like he has to defend for himself, even if it means he has to physically fight the person. So, and that's what caused the accident in the future, his future. So anyway, I'm not gonna go on talking about the story, as we all know about it. So yeah, I'm not gonna drag on, but yeah, just to say that after watching it, well, while watching it the first time, I just thought, like, okay, this is really good. Like, there's more going on, but that doesn't mean that I don't love the first, because I do. And just seeing how when you do something that can change something, even if it's just a one small thing, it can change a lot of things. And so of course it just shows how you have to be careful because you don't want to run into your future self or your past self. So seeing it the first time, I just thought, wow, you know what I mean? Like, I pretty much really liked it, and I just thought it was a really good sequel. And so, just seeing how, with these changes, and how, especially with the almanac, and how when Biff got a hold of it, it completely changed everything. Especially, it completely changed everything, especially in 1985. And then I think, especially the fact that when Marty was watching this TV at this hotel, was called Biff, I don't know, Biff Hotel, I don't know. But he was watching how this is what Biff did, and that how now he is now married to Lorraine, his mom, and then he finds out that, because now his mom went through a change, and then seeing that, he was in shock, and honestly, I was like, whoa, okay, what happened? Like, what? And so, marrying to Biff, that's what happened. Like, I think he forced her to do something that she didn't want to do, so she ended up, I'm not gonna say it, but you know what I mean. And so that would mean that Biff is Marty's stepdad. Well, within that alternate timeline of the alternate 1985. And that is just weird. Like, okay, no. First of all, we can see that Biff was a horrible husband to Lorraine, and a very a not so good stepdad at all. Like, he is not dad material at all, and not even husband material. Like, oh gosh. But then the way he got things his way because of the almanac, it completely changed everything. So, but yeah, I liked how things went, like seeing that and seeing how you gotta be careful, because if you're not careful, things can get worse, especially if you make the wrong decisions, and if you don't try to make things right, then yeah, things can get bad. But yeah, like I said, overall, I just liked seeing how, like, in Back to the Future 2, that they're traveling into 2015, but then with Viv having the hold, with him having the almanac and everything, there's an alternate 1985, and then they had to go back to fix it. Actually, no, they didn't go back. I'm trying to think what happened. So yeah, they didn't have to go back, but Marty, he had to do something, but he knew what he had to do. So upon doing what he had to do, it did reverse that. It completely erased the alternate universe because Biff made things worse, and so things went back to normal. But then, of course, the way it ended, we think, oh no, Doc died, and so it's just like, turns out he's not dead, he's alive, but that would mean he would have to go back way into the past in 1885. So it's like, wow. So anyway, all I'm saying is that like I said, so after watching, I remember thinking, wow, there's much going on here and there, and how things can change by doing one thing. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a big thing. I mean, it can be, but even a small thing can change everything. So, it just shows that. And so seeing this and that, and then from one thing to another, to me, I was just like, wow, this is a really good sequel. And then, of course, by the time part two ended, I was like, wait, there's a third one. And then, of course, after seeing their third one, I'm like, okay, this is also really good. So yeah, I would just say after the first time watching Back to the Future 2, I really liked it, which I still do. I still enjoy it. And so yeah, I just like everything about it, and it's just good, funny, entertaining, and it's a good time travel movie sequel, and it's just like fun to watch. Um, so yeah, that was the first time that I watched it when I was 13, and how since then I just, like love Back to the Future, and how the first is like my favorite. But yeah, so after watching it, like I said, I just really enjoyed it and liked it, and just thought like, wow, like there were so many things that were going on, and it's like it just shows how one thing, even a small thing, can change everything. So yeah, and like that, I pretty much like everything about it, and I still enjoy it. So hope you enjoyed this memory video of Back to the Future 2. And yeah, the cast is great, and I love their performances as well. Um, so hope you enjoyed this, and for more movie content, reactions and dreams, subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. And leave a comment down below if you're a Back to the Future fan. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.